Hi there, I'm Suzanne, your friendly Stampin' Up demonstrator in Canada. Welcome to my monthly paper pumpkin alternative video on my YouTube channel and blog. I share 5 alternative ways to use the kit in this video, and I sell the products I feature as well. I hope you enjoy my free video tutorial and would love to see you sign up with me as a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. Visit sunstampin.com for more information. Hey everybody, this is the Paper Pumpkin alternative video for January 2020. This is the Paper Pumpkin kit, and I'm going to show you all the things that come inside of it, and then I'm going to do some alternatives. However, I did want to make mention that Paper Pumpkin is coordinating some of their products with the celebration sale that's going on right now. I did mention this in my newsletter. If you want to be on the newsletter, go ahead and sign up. It's the link in the description bar below. This is what you were supposed to make with this kit. It's like a February, like a Valentine's Day treat packages. That's the instructions. They're not colored. There's a little ruler on the bottom. It's actually quite a handy thing to have. Here is the stamp set. It's a very pretty stamp set. I quite like the font in the thank you. The heart with love is awesome. I could come up with a lot of different designs just using this stamp set. However, I didn't buy just the stamp set. I bought the entire kit. So I wanted to show you what I could do with a few bits and bobs. So this is one of the little note cards. It's mint macaron, which happens to be what you get in the kit. And I'm just going to swap out for my larger ink pad just because it's easier. So I sliced that card in half and then I glued it together. Now I'm just using wet glue here just because it's a little easier. This is a punch that I have in my stash. Of course, you don't have to use it. It's called the Trio Punch. I think Detail Trio Punch. Yeah, that's it. It has 3 punches or 3 shapes in it, and like one of them's a corner rounder. But I like this little detail that it gives. So I punched all 4 corners, put some dimensionals on it, and then I'm just going to use it for a placeholder because I'm going to stamp the greeting. So here is the greeting, and then I will flip that over and adhere it to my Whisper White thick card base. I have often said, actually I pretty much say it every Paper Pumpkin video, if you're going to duplicate some of my designs, that I would suggest having Whisper White thick as a card base. So get in touch with your demonstrator or please shop with me online and I can set you up with some cardstock. All right, so this is one of the little envelopes that come in the kit, and I used my, there was a whole bunch of punch outs, the negative parts to the hearts, and I traced the heart on this little envelope, and now I'm cutting it out. Now this is sped up 2 times, so twice as fast as what I normally crafted. Anyway, so you can see that I'm going very slow. A lot of people ask me about fussy cutting. They're not confident. They feel like it's a pain. I don't mind it at all because I go slow. One hand, my right hand there doesn't move much at all. I cut at the incisor part of the scissor, not the end. So that really helps too. There's a lot of tension usually on the paper too when I'm pulling it with my left. I hope that makes sense. All right, I have some dimensionals and I put that on my heart, and I have 1 heart left over. So I figured I'd just put a little bit of wet glue. You could use the glue dots that are in the kit or your favorite adhesive. I'm just gonna tuck that inside and use my bone folder to crease the score line. And that is my very first alternative. All right, card number 2. So this is a Whisper White thick card base, and I have 3 of the bees. These bees came in the kit. There's quite a few of them. You're not going to miss 3. I put glue on 2, and I'm stacking them together. I always find that cutouts when I want them to be thick, and I don't want them to bend or wobble. So sometimes I usually 3 is a good number. So I put the mini dimensionals that come in the kit on that little bee, and I think I'll set them here, but I'm not quite sure yet. So there's these little labels that came in the kit as well, and I was able to stamp the sentiment. I think it says, "Be my Valentine." I can't see from here. My little box that I'm editing on is very small. So I put dimensionals on the back, and then, it says "Let's be friends," I think. This is my Stampin' Write marker. So if you haven't experienced Stampin' Up's ink markers, these are lovely markers that would make your crafting a little bit easier. I actually use this black marker. I have about 3 of them. I use them for journaling. I use them for a lot of different things. And I have full set syndrome, so I have all the colors. So in case I don't stamp it correctly, I can fill in the little gaps. So let me know if you need any markers, because I'm here for you. All right, so I'm just using my bone folder, and that is card number 2. Super simple, but it's really cute. Let's be friends. Okay, card number 3. So I have a piece of Whisper White. This is regular weight paper, or just the regular stuff, formulated correctly for our inks, mind you. I used my embossing buddy on my paper, and then I'm using Versamark, which is a clear sticky ink, and I'm going to be sprinkling on embossing powder. And embossing powder is, it's like plastic. That's the best way I can describe it. I'll heat it up with a heat tool, and it will become raised and shiny on my paper. Now, I'm stamping the beautiful square stamp 4 times. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have a full sheet of the design, which is what I wanted. So I've sprinkled white embossing powder. This is my heat tool. It has 2 settings, 1 for just warming things up, and 2 for actual heat embossing. It's the hotter setting. The first setting is more for drying. So I'm skipping that part because it's white on white and it's really hard to see. I took the best 2-inch by 5.5-inch strip, and once it was cooled, I am sponging on Rococo Rose, which is on one of our in color inks right now. You can see that I'm working on a non-porous surface. This is we have this tool, this positioning tool called Stamparatus, and it comes with some grid papers. So I laminated that, and I use it as a non-porous surface so I can sponge and wipe up quickly. I don't have to get my whole surface inked up. Anyway, as you saw here, I have used some of the white trim from the kit, and I am tying a bow. I wrapped it around about 3 or 4 times because there was a little gap in between my stamping, so I wasn't 100% perfect. And that's okay. So I put a whole bunch of dimensionals on the back of that and put it aside. And here is my For You. And I love the look of a black ink on that. So if I know that the kit comes with mint macaron, But if you have a black ink in your stash, don't you think that looks lovely? So once I put that little strip down, it's like ombre, if you will. And now I'm just going to use some glue. And of course, those glue dots in the kit would suffice as well. But I am tucking that heart right in underneath. Okay, card number 4. So this is Whisper White Thick. Here is my negative heart piece from the kit. I'm using some Post-it notes, and I am covering up all the holes or all the hearts except for this one. I have my Rococo Rose ink out. I could have done it in mint macaron. I think hearts sometimes should be red or pink or anyway, that's the look I was going for. So I pulled an ink out of my stash. I always feel a little guilty when I do this. In case you don't have that same ink, I feel bad. But anyway, you can see what I did there. I happen to have one of those makeup brushes. It's a toothbrush handled makeup brush. I got it from Amazon. It was very affordable. You can look it up. You could use a sponge there. So I've used Memento Tuxedo Black ink again for the sentiment that says for you. And then I brought back in my Rococo Rose, and I am stamping with that little rose image. These little images get overlooked because they're small and little, and you're like, what do I do with them? So this is what you can do with it. You can fill a heart with a whole bunch of little tiny roses. I think that's really sweet. I didn't want to run into the problem of crowding this heart, so I only put a few, but I think it looks great. And now I'm going to put a string around the whole entire card and tie a knot, because that made it a lot easier to tie the bow, and I won't make you suffer through the bow tying experience. So I'm just going to edit that out. Shh, it only took me 25 minutes. And now you see a perfect bow. I've cut off the edges and creased that score line with my bone folder, and there it is. A simple, simple card. Hashtag simple stamping with paper pumpkin. All right, this is my last and final card, but if you stay to the very end, you might see cards that didn't make it into this cut. So I have a Whisper White Thick card base here. I'm using those Post-it notes again, and I'm masking off the back side of my card. I have all those little images, and I am stamping. Now I have sped this up 4 times, so you're not going to get bored of watching me stamp little images. It's going to be a very quick process. I am random stamping. I like starting in the middle and going on either side. It's up to your preference as to how you stamp your small image. And these small images, they go very nicely together. This, I'm making my own background actually. So although I could have used any color, I think that mint macaron went really well with this card. When it comes to trying to duplicate some of my designs, I have a tendency to use all of the kit and try to use some of the stuff that maybe you have left over. I don't want to take away from you using the kit like it was intended. So maybe these are some ideas that you could use with just the stamp set. All right, so I'm finished. my background. Now I'm going to pencil a heart. This is one of the little note cards again. So I sacrificed 2 out of my kit, so I still have quite a few. And again, I'm fussy cutting the heart out. And again, I would advise to go nice and slow and, you know, put a movie on and just try your hardest to just slow it down. I think that's part of the problem with fussy cutting. We often think that we have to do it very fast, and we certainly don't. Crafting is supposed to be relaxing, not stressful. I certainly don't expect any of my customers or any of the people that come to my classes to look like Edward Scissorhands at all. No, please don't do that. All right, so I have a sponge here with my mint macaron ink, and I am sponging the ends. So I'm flicking that sponge and creating a border, like an inked border. So it's adding a little bit of depth to that heart. It's making it stand out, and I used my Memento Tuxedo Black ink again for the thank you, my favorite sentiment stamp. Now I'm gluing it to a piece of vellum, and I'm cutting out the heart again. And this time I'm freehanding it, but because there's a shape already, I can easily follow that shape. And I was watching Netflix, I think, while I was doing this. And every once in a while I pause and I'm like, no, that didn't really happen, did it? Oh my goodness. I'm also enjoying another YouTube channel called Jolly. It's ridiculous. British people, I love them. All right, so I'm putting dimensionals on that heart, and I have, of course, not pressed it down until the very end where I'm happy with it. And I'm creasing that score line with my bone folder, and that is my cards for today. Thank you so very much for joining me, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. On screen are 2 more videos for inspiration. Click on the maple leaf for my blog, or click on me to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching.